All right then. So now let's go ahead and create our second UI. So in this case, it's going to be, so let's create a new project folder over here named as 2UI. That's it. And inside over here, I'm going to create the index.html. And inside the second UI, I'm going to create the CSS folder, and I'm going to create a new file called styles.css. So let's bring the boilerplate code over here. And then here I'm just going to say link dot slash css styles.css. Perfect. Okay. So in this case, we're going to create a nice hover button with the kind of animations, a small CSS animation that looks more materialistic, and it is not, it doesn't have a much clumsy animation, like a clean and neat and simple. That's it. Okay. So basically it's going to be a button. So let's bring that button. And for that, I'm just going to say button. That's the class name that we are assigning for that. Then I'm going to bring a span tag inside over here, and then I'm just going to say over me, something like that. Okay. And here I'm going to bring the svg tag. Let's bring the svg, something like this, svg. Okay. So basically the width of this svg, it's going to be 15 pixels. 15 pixels. Then height of this height of this svg, which is going to be the 10 pixels. All right. Then the view box, make sure the b as a capital one, 0 0 13 10. That's the view box that we are trying to give. Then inside this svg, I'm going to create a path. Okay, basically the path and the dimension of the path, which is going to be m1, okay, comma 5, l11, comma 5. Okay, so let me show you what are these things, and then I'm just going to say polyline. So basically this is what the svg that I'm going to use over here. Okay, so if you run this application, and if I refresh it over here, you can see the second UI, and you can see we have that icon over there, right? So that is what that we are trying to bring up over there. Okay, so this is the icon that we are trying to bring, or you can simply use any icons, that's up to you. But in this case, I prefer to use the svg itself, so it is much lightweight, and it's loading from the local file itself, not from any external servers. So always try to go for svgs, or you can go for any external packages like box icons, font awesome icons, something like that. Okay, so let me save this and let me refresh this, and let me get back into here, and I'm going to target every single element over there. Margin, which is going to be 0, padding, that is also going to be 0, and then box sizing, which is going to be the border box. Then we need to bring everything in the center location. So let's say for the body tag, let's target it width, which is going to be 100, viewport width, then height, which is going to be 100 viewport height, then display flex. So now you can see that it's stretched out completely. Don't worry about that. Align items center, justify content center. That should bring the button in the center of the screen. All right, so now let's target our button style. So I'm gonna copy our, yes, here it is, button, and let's say dot button, which is going to be position. It's going to have the relative position. Then I'm gonna say margin, it's need to be aligned automatically both x and y axis itself. Then the padding of the button, so we need to adjust the padding because you can see it doesn't have any space over there. So let's say it's going to have 12 pixels and it's going to have 18 pixels. Now you should be able to see it's having some nice padding effects over there. Then I'm going to add the transition effects, transition for every single property, 0.2 seconds delay, and it should be smooth ease. Then I'm going to make sure I don't have any border. Then I don't need any background as well as, so now it is completely transparent and it doesn't have any background or nothing. Okay, then next I need to make sure the cursor as a pointer, because if you see here still we have this arrow mark, so I don't need that. I need this cursor pointer effect, something like this. Perfect. Then now I need to target the button, and I'm going to target the before pseudo element of that. So that is going to be the position, absolute position, and the content, which is going to be the empty content. Then top is equals to 0, left is equals to 0, and make sure to display it in the block. Okay, it needs to be displayed block. And okay, right after that, what I need to do is I need to make sure to adjust the border radius. So let's say border radius, which is going to be the 50 pixels of the border radius. So, well, we can't see any border radius so far over there, but it will make sense why we are having those things and everything. Okay, then we need to add the background, which is going to be this color. Now you can't see that because that is the circle shape that we are trying to bring up over there, because we didn't given any width or anything. So let's give the width as 45 pixels and height as 45 pixels. Now you should be able to see that circle shape over there, which is pretty much good enough, I think so. Okay, then I'm gonna say transition all 0.2 seconds ease. Okay, now next, what I need to do is I need to target the span tag, which is inside the button tag. So inside the span, which we are going to make sure the position as the relative position. Then the font family, we're gonna change the font family into something like the available font family. What is the font family we do have? We can go with the Sergio UI. Okay, I think that's very much better. Then the font size, which is going to be 18 pixels. Then the font weight, which is going to be 700. Then the letter spacing, the space between the letters, it's going to be 0.05 eminent points. Okay, I think we can reduce the font weight even a little bit. Let's say 400, or let's give it 500. Okay, I think 500 is very much better. Then I'm gonna give the color. The color, of course, it's going to be hash 234567. That's the color which we are going to use. Okay, perfect. Now it's looking good. Then what we need to do is I need to target the SVG. So dot button SVG. Inside the button we do have that SVG tag, right? So that position, it's going to be the relative position. Then it needs to be top 0, and margin left, it's going to be 10 pixels. So we need some space from the text between that. So that's the reason. Then fill effect, it's going to be none. Okay, initially. And then I'm gonna say stroke line cap, it's going to be round. Then stroke line join, which is going to be, that's also round. Then I need to specify the stroke color. Let's say the stroke, which is going to be the same color which we given for hash 23457. That's the same color that we have to give. Now we should be able to see the entire the look of the arrow mark. It's completely different now. You can see that, right? Then what I need to do is I just need to say, make sure the stroke width is going to be somewhat like this, little bit bolder. So let's say 2. And then transform, I'm going to transform it, translate x-axis, the x-axis minus 5 pixels. Okay, then transition all 0.3 seconds ease. So the reason why we little bit pulled in the negative x-axis, because when you're hovering it, we can adjust that. That's the reason. So save it. Okay, then now what I need to do is I need to target the button colon hover effect. Hover. Whenever I'm hovering, I'm going to target the pseudo element of that. Before pseudo element, I'm going to make sure the width as 100%. Then I'm going to make sure the background as hash p1 tae7, something like that. Now if I hover it, you should be able to see this. See, that's cool, right? Then we need to adjust the button, that SVG on the hover effect. On a hover, we need to target the SVG. Then I need to transform and translate x-axis, make it 0%, because we pulled it a little bit minus 5 pixels. Now if I hover it, you can see The arrow mark is expanding a little bit, right? That's pretty much good. And when you're clicking it, we don't have any effects at all. So for that, what I'm going to do is for the dot button colon active, whenever the user clicks it, I'm going to say transform scale level, reduce it to 0.90 percentage, which means from the 100 percentage, I'm going to reduce the size. So if the user clicks this is how it looks. Okay, so we pretty much created a nice looking hover button, and that's completely just by using plain CSS, these kind of transitions effects and all these stuff. All right, so let's move on to the next section.